Hey Virgo, what's going on? What's good? Get in here. We are going to tap into these energies and see what is going on. I do have a message for you, and I kind of owe you guys a part two from yesterday. So we're going to be getting a lot done today, Virgo. But before we get into all of that, I just want to say thank you all who support the channel. I appreciate your likes. If you're sharing the videos, if you are subscribed to the channel. If you found this channel, it is not by coincidence, okay? Because it's not a very easy channel to find, all right? And you know what else I meant to tell you guys on the other videos as well? Do not get scammed, okay? I'm not going to go into too much rant on this whole thing, but I do not solicit for readings, okay? I'm only posting and doing readings, uploading readings on the YouTube platform. So if there's anybody taking my content and posting it on any other platforms, I would appreciate if someone could just, send me a message with a link or something. Because I don't operate like that, okay? And just know no good is going to come to whoever is working out of that type of energy, okay? So yeah, I do not solicit for readings, okay? So do not fall for the okie dokie 144 on the counter. And those who are violating, it's only a matter of time. Tick tock, tick tock. You know what happens after that. The boom, right? Okay. So let's get into this message, Virgo. And that was a metaphor, boom. Okay? Because yeah, don't forget, God don't like ugly, and he's not too keen on cute either. Okay? All right? Don't get cute. All right. So I just had to let that out. Spirit wanted me to just say that. I don't know who needs to hear that, but I do appreciate all the support that you show this channel, and my other channel, the Divine Raven Moon 369. Okay. All right. So Virgo, let's get into this. Okay. So we are now, we went from being waiting. We were waiting in, where were we waiting in yesterday? Yesterday we were waiting in, why can't I, wait, give me a second, guys. Let me just get myself together over here while I try to organize everything. Okay, so we were in Scorpio yesterday, and as the message that was channeled is that, there's a lot of releasing happening, okay? So for the strong emotions that follow this emotional release that took place, I would say for the past 2 days, and you know what, a lot of these energies, even though it may have just hit, I would say Sunday, Monday into yesterday, it's like the message was to remind you, Virgo, that whatever emotions or whatever you're going through at this moment, it is all coming up for the release. It's not a regression. You're not going backwards. And that there is a real huge reason why the emotions were so strong. For whoever's resonating with yesterday's message, this is like a continuation of yesterday's message, like the download, but it is now in alignment with the moon being in Sagittarius right now. So we're waiting in Sagittarius, and what this feels like as a result. Oh, and let me just say that this is a general message, so do listen to the message. You don't have to be Virgo, Sun. in order for this message to resonate. And if you have Virgo placements and you have your, you have your chart, your natal chart, feel free to look up your Virgo placements and see in what areas, even though I'm going to go through a few areas, see what areas this may actually resonate with you in what's happening currently. Okay. But a lot of the emotions that were coming through, especially while the moon was in Scorpio, was so that you could release a lot of that. And I think when we're going through this whole release thing, it's not our like first thought to think while you're going through it that, oh, this is a release for this huge thing that's coming in. I have to let this go to amp up the expansion of whatever is coming in. Okay, so we're going to be tapping into that now. Okay, so Virgo, it is this is going to really put into perspective how the current transits are shaping your path moving forward, or how you may be able to perceive certain things, okay, and have a better understanding as to what's happening. All right, so with the moon moving through Sagittarius in its waning phase, the emotional body is being invited, of course, to still release these old beliefs, but you're releasing old beliefs so that you are able to expand your inner truth. Okay, so this energy calls you to seek wisdom beyond the familiar. So it's that thinking out of the box kind of thing, like where you are, you are testing the limits of what your belief systems are. All right, in a huge way. All right, so it's about exploration. It's about exploring what genuinely feels meaningful, rather than what you've been doing out of habit, or just going along with something just habitually. So it's kind of it's breaking that robotic cycle. Okay, I'm trying to think of something that we may all do without really putting much thought into it. And the only other thing that I could really think of off the top of my head without veering too far off this message is like brushing your teeth, right? So if you are right-handed, you probably, without giving it any thought, you wake up in the morning, you run your toothbrush under the water, you put your toothpaste, and you start brushing away with your right hand, right? So that's kind of like something that you merely do habitually, without giving it meaning, right? But let's say you wake up and you decide to use your left hand. You don't really use that hand very often, and you're doing it intentionally, and you are being more in tune with every toothbrush with your left hand, right? So although that may seem like a little example, there's a lot of truth to exercising your less dominant side, right? So it does open up certain like neurological pathways, but I'm digressing. I'm getting away from the message. So I'm gonna try to just like stay on point with this over here. But yeah, so it's about exploring what feels genuinely meaningful, rather than just doing things merely out of just habit. And for Virgos, this can be a little bit like side-eyeing a little bit, not for all you Virgos, but for some, okay? But it's a time to refine not just your routines, but your worldview. Okay, so this is kind of like that micro and that macro, your immediate um, routines, but also how you may view the world at large, right? So this may have something to do with letting go of the way you think about something, the way you think about people, certain people, right? And, it's so amazing. I always have these examples that I want to share with you all. We really got to be careful how we set ourselves up in feeling like somebody is less than or somebody is more than for the reasons that don't make anybody less or more. Okay, like the things that we're born into this world with. Okay, none of us really had control over them. All right, down to the way we look, unless we go under surgery or we use aesthetic things to change our appearance. But on the basic level, like we all came out the womb, and we really, unless you're 111, right? No, it's 1111, not 111, but 1111. Unless you're like a designer baby, right? And I don't know any designer baby people. Okay, I'm not saying that I maybe never met a designer baby person. And for some of you that are like, what's a designer baby person? I guess like when you go to the fertility clinic and you're like, I want this gene, you're gene shopping to create a life, right? I don't really, nobody's ever came to me and said, oh, I'm a designer baby 1144. So with that being said, I'm totally digressing off my message, but there are so many things so many traps in which we fall into feeling a certain way about certain people, maybe perhaps because of the things that they believe, because of the way they look, so forth and so on. You can put whatever you want to put in that worldview, but not letting go of these mental patterns are the things that, instead of serving for our growth, are the things that actually starve our growth. Because when you start to expand and you start putting two and two together and start connecting the dots, you really get to see how connected we all really are. And sometimes, we don't go back and think about the people that we've hurt with our with our mental patterns of ridiculousness, right? The lack of growth that needs to happen. A lot of times, we leave people feeling the way they felt because of something we may have said or did, right? And I'm not saying me per se, but I'm sure that I've said and done some things in my lack of awareness and enlightenment and awakening that possibly not only served as a trap for me and my thinking, but had that person walking away like, oh, probably not thinking like that was me individually, but as part of a group or a whole, right? So that was just an example. Take it how you want. But so Sagittarius is like directly dealing with the way we see, worldview things, as well as, individually, personally, within our own lives, right? So it's this Sagittarius moon energy is completely encouraging optimism, balance with honesty. So yeah, growing and expanding, but being completely brutally honest about what feels truly aligned with your soul's purpose right now at this moment. So because you've released a lot, it's hard to kind of like sometimes gauge exactly where you are as you're going through this releasing. But once you hit like that 0 point of calmness and you do have clarity, it's kind of like that important question now comes in with, what do you truly want? What truly is aligned with your soul's purpose at this moment? So it's like there's a lot of fiery energy coming in after, I'm feeling after like another It's like a fire on top of fire. It's refinement to the max. Okay, 1500 may be significant. Something about tomorrow may be playing a major part in bringing this all together for you, Virgo. But right now, as we have the sun is in Capricorn. We have Mercury, Venus, Mars, all in Capricorn right now. Okay, so you have Mercury, Venus, Mars in Capricorn. I thought Jupiter was in Capricorn, but I didn't check Jupiter to see if it's still or what position Jupiter is in right now, but you might want to check that out, see where Jupiter, I know Jupiter was in Capricorn, but I'm not sure if it's still there. However, yeah, so you have Capricorn, right, which is bringing highlights to three major things, all right, and that's the structure, the discipline, and the mastery, all right, and how it applies to real world tasks. So it's about being very disciplined in mastering something or building something in the world, like actually. So it could be a project, like if you're building a home, or if you are working on something. This Capricorn energy it feels like it's giving that focus, right? It's helping you stay in tune with the focus of whatever it is that you have mastered, all right, or whatever that your discipline is, okay. And how this is playing out for you, Virgo, is in a very natural dharma way. It's in how you service, all right, how you have precision. And again, this word refinement or refine is just going to keep coming up for you, Virgo, because it's more about taking something that and making it better, not dismantling something and starting over. Okay, so yeah, again, heavy emphasis on it not being the regression. There's nothing you're supposed to go back to. All right, there's nothing to go back to. Okay, so I think like Spirit wants you kind of see it in that way where, yeah, there is really nothing to go back to. All right, there's only right now and the expansion of your forward movement that's coming in. All right, so these three things, they kind of work together in tandem. Like they're clustered together, and it will amplify your capacity to organize and implement your long-term visions, all right, with seriousness and grounding. So that's what that's what the Sagittarius moon energy is bringing you, along with this concentration, if you will, with this Capricorn energy. All right, so it's definitely going to help you ground, and yes, take a very serious approach to something that you're working on that is going to affect the long term. Excuse me, I gotta get something to drink. Okay, so Virgo, you're being asked to build what you truly value. And that is huge, right? Because now you can sit in this energy where you're like, yes, this is what I truly value, right? Now that you've released all that has been like in the way, kind of discombobulating the view, right? It's like taking all the furniture out the room and you realize, wow, it's a huge room with nothing in it, right? So this is not about tidying up. This is not about cleaning up the room, but it's about truly asking yourself what you value, because now it's like you are building with dignity. It's more or less like you are building not to just fill up space, but everything has a purpose. Everything is intentional that you are putting in your world. Okay, everything that you're building for yourself. So then now we have Mercury that is squaring Capricorn, and then, well, maybe it's opposite Jupiter. So Jupiter is there while you have Cancer in retrograde. So it's saying a lot about like the emotions, not getting too carried away, making things more logical. But let's back up. Let's just go back to Mercury with the Jupiter. All right, it suggests that there is probably going to be a lot of tension between what it is that you're analyzing and what you are actually meaning. So it's like analyzing something to see if it's really meaningful or it falls in alignment with what it is that you want. Okay, and that may take time. All right, it may take time between practical planning, and so practically planning and then seeing if it resonates with you on an emotional level. And that's where the redefinement comes in. So it's like you've already built the house. You don't have to knock the house down, but before you just start throwing stuff in the house, you want to go room by room and really, put things where it's going to be most practical for you in the way that you live, right? And how it's going to, and how you're going to feel after everything is done is very important. So this is a lot to do. And I'm also getting that as you're doing it, don't feel obligated to rush this process, right? This may be the time that it may be most necessary for you to write things down. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to come back with a part 2 on this. Okay.